Hey, what's up guys, Little Luigi here, welcome to STeller episode 3.1, and you guys only took 13.03 days to submit this time. This is the fastest time so far, but that's because we lost 4 contestants last time. Here's the inventory of the contestants. Malshock9 and Molub have 2 rounds to use their items before they get thrown away. Also, remember when 2 people tied on round 1? Well, now ties will be broken by a hidden statistic called skew, and the second tiebreaker will be a higher standard deviation. In other news, Maxfecto and Lizard have prized legitimately 2 times in a row, so you guys will need to watch out for them. They're doing pretty good. 22 contestants made 2 stories, with each story having 13 sentences. Of course, 2 of those are the starter sentence and plot twist, so you'll only be voting on 11 sentences each. 3 people are supposed to die in prize, but that's not an even number, so how am I gonna fix that? Well, you guys will also be voting on which story is the best, and to do that, just say story number is better than the story other number. The better story will have 2 prizers and the worst story will have 2 deaths. This was a suggestion from Maxfecto, so I'll give him credit for that. In case you forgot, the event this round was plot twist, meaning in the middle of the story there's a plot twist sentence that contestants have to ease into. You have until April 5th, 3 p.m. CST to vote on both stories. When voting, don't forget to vote down run-ons. Also, keep in mind the sentence behind, because that sentence might have made it hard for the person next to continue. Have sympathy for these submitters. Okay, here's how you vote. Contestants DM the Spaghetti Luigi account on Discord their vote, but viewers comment down their vote. To vote, rank the sentences by their labels by putting the best on the left and the worst on the right. Make sure I know what votes are for which stories by labeling them like this. Thank you. Voters should vote up sentences that are funny, add something interesting, add to the plot, or improve the story in some other way. They should vote down run-on sentences, sentences that derail the story too much, and sentences that don't have continuity. And now for story 1. After stepping through the portal, I looked at my surroundings and found that I had hopscotched over 10 centuries back in time. When I realized what had happened, I felt nauseous, as if everything was speeding up and slowing down at the same time. I got up from the floor as my vision began to clear to see a grand throne made of golden velvet and an unhappy robed man stop it. The aristocrat man began shouting at me in long-forgotten dialect, but I was too distracted by the disgusting body odor filling the room to make sense of what he was saying. I managed to quell the tension in the air by producing one of my foreign artifacts, as the aristocrat had referred to it. I had to dig around in my satchel for a while, but I finally found it, a fragrant, solidified turd from the Prince of Persia's last bathroom visit. Exposing this foul artifact evoked a strange response from the robed man, almost as if he recognized it, as he snatched it out of my hands and briskly walked into my portal. That's when I realized what my shenanigans in the past have done to the present. I immediately jumped back into the portal, but it was too late. The once familiar signs of my hometown were now covered in indecipherable symbols. Everything my eyes set vision upon, all I saw was reminders of all the mistakes I had just made. Then behind me came a familiar-looking face, except much older. They were holding an ancient-looking toothbrush. The pungent fumes emitted from the toothbrush caused my nose to shrivel up, and my eyes were overcome with fear once I recognized his possessor. The aristocrat himself laughed maniacally and gloated, "You fool, I was able to combine my toothbrush with your artifact to create the ultimate weapon, and now your pathetic hometown is mine." I stared at the maniacal aristocrat and decided to myself that I needed to make a portal, find myself, and stop me from giving the aristocrat the smelly turd. And that was story 1. Now for story 2. While looking through one of the space station windows, I noticed a space rock cluster heading straight towards us. I desperately pulled the space rock cluster alarm, hoping to warn everyone of the oncoming danger, only to immediately remember all the times I previously sounded the alarm as a joke. I hopped through the zero-gravity station to get to the command hub as fast as I could, crashing into several expensive research drones as I went. Adrenaline slowing down time, I quickly shouted the standard warning procedure into the hub's microphone, then remembered that John had unplugged it yesterday to charge his phone. There was no time to plug it back in, so I activated the massive sweeper to push everyone onto a huge rocket to prepare to blast away, but I was having trouble getting it started. After trying so many things to save us all, I felt completely useless, and all I could do was brace for impact in the lockdown shelter. After sitting in the lockdown shelter, shoving space Twinkies down my gullet for about 10 minutes, I spotted the emergency switch for the Frisbane Ranodon Technobabble shield generator on the wall, and flipped it, saving the station. After being relieved we didn't have to worry about that, we then noticed that we were about to head straight into an asteroid belt. I floated as fast as I could towards the asteroid belt alarm, but then I realized we didn't have one. After a brief moment of panic, I knew exactly what to do, and I began to put on my extravehicular mobility unit, the suit that would allow me to exit the ship. After exiting the ship, I looked back on what my mentor Bill Nye the Science Guy told me during my training. He said, asteroid belts move very slow, so you are at no real risk if you go into one. Being relieved, I put the station on autopilot, guiding us back on course. My narrow escape turned my frown upside down. And that's all. What great stories. Please everyone vote so I can get some accurate results, and don't forget to say which story you like the most. Bye!